Students, today we are going to learn a concept which is called as constraint equation, and then we will learn how to use the constraint equation in Newton law of motion chapter and in spring block oscillatory systems. So here is the concept. As you can see, we have two diagrams here. On the right side diagram, we have a pulley which is moving upward with velocity v. This is a pulley which moves upward, let's say with a velocity v. The string which is on the left side of the pulley is having velocity v1, and the string on the right side of the pulley is having velocity v2. All you have to do is you find the velocity of this point of string relative to center of the pulley. So this point is moving upward with velocity v1, and this center of the pulley is going upward with v. So if you find their relative velocity, you will get v1 minus v. Before finding relative velocity, assign a positive and negative directions. Let's say upward is positive and downward is negative. So according to sign convention, these two are positive velocities and v2 is negative. So the relative velocity between this point of string and the center of pulley will be v1 minus v plus the relative velocity of the right side of this point. Now I will find velocity of this point relative to this pulley. So velocity of this point is a v2, but it is in the downward direction, which is negative direction. So the velocity of rightmost side, this point, will be minus of v2 according to the sign convention. And if I want it relative to the center of pulley, I have to subtract the velocity of the pulley. Then only I will get the relative velocity. And now you simply add these two and put it equals to 0. And if you do so, you can do it and you get a result which is v1 minus v2 will be twice of v. That's an easy way, faster way of finding the constraint equation. If I use this concept in this first diagram, then this point is moving upward with v1 velocity, and it is when you will calculate this velocity relative to center of pulley, which is going upward with vp, then the relative velocity will be v1 minus vp plus, now you take the relative velocity on other side. This velocity is v2 in the upward direction, and relative to center it will be minus of vp, and simply put it equals to 0, and you get vp equals to v1 plus v2, twice of vp equals to v1 plus v2. So these are basically called as, these equations are basically known as constraint equations. And this is a way to find the constraint equation. Of course, there is logic behind this equation. There is a logic, and the logic is written in front of you. We are dealing with inextensible strings. We are dealing with inextensible strings, which means length of string cannot change. So if this pulley is moving upward with velocity v, and you have a string on both sides, and this point is going upward with velocity v1, then according to definition of kinematics, this length of string, let's say x1, will change at the rate of dx1 by dt. It will change at the rate of relative velocity between these 2 points, that is v1 minus v. And if you take another point on the other side of pulley, and let's say this length is x2, then the length x2 will change at the rate of dx2 by dt. If point 2 is traveling upward with velocity v2, then the rate of change of this distance can be written as v2 minus v. Since string is inextensible, x1 plus x2 will be a constant value. The length between these 2 points this portion, the length of this part of a string plus this length plus the length over the pulley. This total length has to be constant. So rate of change of any part of a string, which is dx1 by dt, rate of change of other part of a string dx2 by dt, sum of these two must be 0, and therefore you can write v1 minus v plus v2 minus v equals to 0. This is what we have done here. So this is the logic behind the equation, that the total length of a string has to be constant due to its ideal characteristic, and for total length of a string to remain constant, this equation or the concept must be valid in all the cases. So as a student, for the faster approach in the numericals, you have to simply write down relative velocity on both sides. Write down the relative velocity of this point of a string in the frame of pulley, write down the velocity of other side of string in the frame of pulley, and sum of the relative velocities will be 0. That's a very easy concept. Yes, while taking the relative velocity, take care of the directions, or take care of positive and negative sign. Now I am going to illustrate this concept in some questions now. So here I have some questions. Here. In the first example, block A is going upward with VA velocity and block B is moving downward with VB velocity. We want a relation between VA and VB. I want a relation between VA and VB. Now listen very carefully. This portion of string is fixed at this point. So this whole part of string will be fixed. So any point on this string will have a velocity of 0 meter per second. And if this string is going upward with a VA and this pulley is fixed, we have a fixed pulley here. So if this is a fixed pulley, this block A is going upward with VA velocity, definitely this side the string will come downward with VA velocity. And this pulley which is attached to the block B is going downward with VB velocity. This pulley is attached to block B, so it is going downward with VB. This point is on a stationary part of a string, so it has 0 meter per second speed, and this side of a string will come downward because A is going upward. Now I will apply the previous concept for this pulley, which is I choose the relative velocity of this point in the frame of pulley. So the relative velocity of this point will be 0 minus the velocity of pulley, which is VB, plus, now I will consider relative velocity of this point which is moving downward with VA velocity, minus our pulley velocity which is VB, and now you get VA equals to twice of VB. That's the constraint equation. Next example. Here we have block A going upward with 3 meter per second. I want the velocity of block B now. Right. So it's a very simple question but useful for you. It will definitely help you in problem solving, especially in Newton laws of motion, where you deal with multiple pulleys and multiple masses. Right. So now if it is going upward with 3 meter per second, definitely this string will come downward because this is a fixed pulley. So if a string goes up with a 3 meter per second, the other side of a string will move down with 3 meter per second. This string being attached to block A, this part of a string is attached to block A which is going upward with 3 meter per second. So this string will also move up with 3 meter per second. And this side of a string is coming downward with velocity V. Now use the same concept. Before that I choose downward direction to be positive and upward direction to be negative. That's my sign convention. Now relative velocity on this side. So the relative velocity on this side will be V which is downward minus this pulley which is coming downward with 3 meter per second, plus on the other side of pulley 3 meter per second velocity is in the upward direction which is negative. So you will put minus 3, and now to convert it into relative velocity you have to subtract the velocity of this pulley which is 3, and sum of relative velocities on both sides will be 0. You directly get V equals to 9 meter per second. Here this pulley is moving forward with 4 meter per second and you want the velocity of A. Notice that this point is on, here the string is fixed because it is attached to the wall. So this point is fixed, it has no velocity. So here also your velocity will be 0 meter per second. This block is moving forward with say V velocity and the pulley is moving forward with 4. Use the same concept, relative of this point which is 0 meter per second. So 0, to convert it into relative, subtract this pulley velocity, 0 minus 4. Velocity here is velocity here is V. To convert it into the relative velocity, subtract the pulley velocity 4 and put it 0. And now you get V equals to 8 meter per second. So this is a faster way to find the constraint equation, to write the constraint equation in mass pulley systems. One more example to finish with this concept. Here we have 3 block system. Block A is going upward with 6 meter per second, block B coming downward with 4 meter per second, and I want the value for velocity of block C now. Right. Now listen very carefully. This block A which is going up with 6 meter per second, here velocity is 6 meter per second. I will just write the numbers, I am not writing the unit of velocity. So if this portion of a string is going up with 6 meter per second, other side of a string will definitely come down with 6 meter per second, because this pulley is permanently fixed. This side the block B is coming downward with 4 meter per second, this block B is coming downward with 4 meter per second, and block C is coming downward with V. Now use the same concept for this pulley again. On the right hand side, velocity of the string is V relative to the pulley, so it will be V minus 6. On the left side of the pulley, string is going downward with 4 meter per second, which is relative to pulley, so minus 6, and now put it equals to 0. You get 8 meter per second. So this is how you can simply write the constraint equations within 10 to 20 seconds, maximum 20 seconds or 30 seconds. Now we have one more concept which can be used for my next topic, which is finding the time period. We all know that when a spring is attached to the vertical spring, when a block is attached to a vertical spring, it starts oscillating about the equilibrium point. Where is the equilibrium point? So if I attach this mass m at the time when the spring was relaxed, then the force at this moment was mg. Since spring was relaxed, there was no force in this upward direction, but due to the force of gravity, the mass m will fall down, and as the mass m falls down, a spring is elongated, and at a certain time it is elongated by sufficient amount to balance the force of gravity. The moment spring has sufficient elongation to produce a force which can balance force of gravity, we say that our block is at the point of equilibrium. So the point of equilibrium will appear when this force of gravity is balanced by restoring force by the spring, which as per the Hooke's law is spring constant and the deformation or elongation, which is x naught. By balancing these two forces, you can simply find out what is the value of x naught, which comes as mg over k. From that equilibrium level, notice that this was the equilibrium level. So this was equilibrium level. From that equilibrium level, if our block is moved downward by additional distance x, then the forces on the block will be force of gravity mg and force by the spring. Notice that the relaxed length of spring was at this point. It was previously elongated by x naught distance. It is further elongated by x distance, which means now total elongation, if I calculate the total elongation in this spring, the total elongation in this spring will be x naught plus x, and for this total elongation, which is x naught plus x, spring will apply upward force Fs, and that upward force Fs as per the Hooke's law will be k times x naught plus x. Now the block has two forces, one which is Fs in the upward direction, other which is mg in the downward direction. So the net force on this block will be mg, which is downward, minus k times of x naught plus x, because it is opposite to mg. So you will write mg minus kx naught minus kx, and notice that kx naught and mg, they were equal in magnitude. So this mg minus kx naught term will be cancelled, and you get net force equals to minus kx. You divide this net force by the mass of object, Newton's second law, you will get the acceleration value, and you can write the acceleration as double derivative of x, which is minus times omega square x, and this is a differential equation related to the simple harmonic oscillations, and you get the time period capital T as 2 pi root of m by k. That's the time period definition now. The omega square value will be actually k by m. We have substituted k by m with omega square. So I should mention omega square is k by m. This F net upon mass m, it is actually the acceleration, which is according to kinematics double derivative of x with respect to time t. And this is a differential equation for SHM, simple harmonic oscillation. This is the famous differential equation which confirms the time period will be 2 pi root of square root of m by k. The purpose of taking this example at this point is, in case of vertical spring, you can use the time period formula 2 pi root m by k, ignoring gravity. The presence of gravity or the value of gravity or the role of gravity has nothing to do with the expression of time period. In case of oscillatory motion with a vertical spring, the time period is always independent of gravity. It is only dependent on the spring constant. Right. The other important contribution because of the gravity is that the spring will not oscillate about its relaxed length. Yes, the block will oscillate, but the block will oscillate about this equilibrium point. The oscillation of block will be about this equilibrium point. It will make to and fro motion about this point, which means it will go downward, then it will come back, it will move upward, and it will oscillate about this point. It will not oscillate about the relaxed point. That's the only effect caused by gravity, that oscillations are not about the relaxed length of a string. Oscillations are about a point where spring is elongated, and that elongation is mg over k. That's the only effect created by the gravity. It has no effect on time period. Now you will keep this point in your mind so that we can solve the next questions. Now we are going to deal with some complicated systems. Today I will discuss problems where a single spring is involved. In my next video, I will discuss problems with 2 springs or 3 springs. But today I will discuss problems related to single spring. In these questions, we want to find time period of oscillations. The purpose of this question is to find the time period of oscillations. And how can we do it in a faster way? How can you obtain the time period in the faster way? Is as follows. I am not going in detail of the question. I will not discuss where is the equilibrium point, all that. And the reason in the previous discussion, where is the equilibrium point, that has no role, that has no importance in calculation of time period. The only thing which matters for the calculation of time period is when you move the block from the equilibrium point, what is the additional force that block is going to experience. Notice, at the time of equilibrium, sum of all forces on the block will be 0, which means all the forces are balanced at this point. So if you displace the block by x distance and you get some additional force, obviously that additional force will be the unbalanced force, and the oscillations will be created by or caused by that unbalanced force only. Here the spring force and the force of gravity, these two forces are balanced at this point. If you move the block in downward direction by distance small x, naturally the force of gravity will not change, but the force of spring will increase, and the force of spring will increase by some amount, which is kx. It is already kx naught in magnitude. Here the spring of force, notice that the spring of force is kx naught plus kx. So you can split it and you can write kx naught plus kx. So the effect of displacement from the equilibrium point is additional spring force kx, which causes oscillatory motion. Now come back to the question. If I assume that the block is moved downward by x, let's say the block is moved downward by x, and at any moment it has a velocity v, right? I assume that the point of pulley, this point goes up with velocity vs. I use suffix s for spring. Since this point is attached to the spring, I use capital S here, vs, which stands for the velocity of spring. Now if you use the previous concepts here, now this string will move downward with v velocity, right? This string is going downward with v velocity. Here this point is fixed, so it has 0 velocity on this side. You have 0 velocity, 0 meter per second on this side. This pulley is also fixed, right? This pulley is fixed. So if this string goes down with velocity v, here the string must move upward with velocity v, since the string is fixed. Now focus on this pulley. For this pulley, on the right hand side you have velocity v, which if you calculate relative to the pulley, you get v minus vs, plus on the left side you have velocity 0, which if you transform in the frame of pulley, if you take relative to the pulley, then you will write 0 minus vs, and now equals to 0, and that means velocity of spring will be v by 2. So if the spring is moving with velocity which is half 1 by 2 of this block velocity, it means Notice that spring has a velocity 1 by 2 times the velocity of the block. So if this block moves downward by distance small x, this pulley will move up by a distance x by 2. So this pulley will be elongated by x by 2. And now if this pulley will be elongated by x by 2, you will get additional force here, and the additional force which we will get in this pulley, in this spring, due to the elongation x over x by 2, this spring will exert additional force of kx by 2. And if you get additional force of kx by 2 at this point, you will get additional force here also. For that we have another concept, that for any massless pulley, if you have tension force on both sides T and a force capital F in the downward direction, and if this is a massless pulley, you can write 2T equals to F if this pulley is massless. If the pulley is ideal, you can write 2T equals to F. So if F changes, if you change the value of F, the values of T will also change. So if there is any change in this spring force, correspondingly there will be change in this tension force also, and the change in the tension force will be half of F. So if this force which is in this spring changes by kx by 2, the corresponding tension T will change, this T will change by half of this value, which is k by 4 times x. And that means if the force changes by k upon 4x, you can take this k by 4 as your effective spring constant. And if k by 4 is the effective spring constant, you can simply write down time period as 2 pi root of m over effective spring constant, which is k by 4. And you can use this concept for any numerical now. Let us try in the next numerical. If mass m goes down by distance x with velocity v, this point, because fixed to the ceiling, here the string is fixed to the ceiling, it has 0 velocity. Let's say a spring is coming downward with a vs velocity. Now use the same concept. This part of a string attached to the block is going downward with a v velocity. It is 0, it is vs. So now relative of this point will be 0 minus pulley velocity, which is vs, this 0 minus velocity of the pulley, that is v, plus on the other side vs minus this pulley velocity and put it as 0. I get a vs equals to 2v now, which means a spring is now moving with double velocity. This point of a spring will be moving at a velocity 2 times of this block velocity. So if block which is moving with v speed travels by small x, then the spring which is moving with double speed will obviously travel by 2x. And if this spring goes down by 2x, a force will appear in this spring, which is k into 2x, that is 2kx, and a force 2kx in this part will have effect here as, notice that if 2kx is the force in this part, 2kx will be on this side, so total force will be 4kx. And by this concept of pulley, if I get 2kx on this side, 2kx on the other side, I will get 4kx on the block. And if I get 4kx on this block, this 4k will be our k effective for this particular question. And now I can write down that time period will be 2 pi root of m by 4k. So this is very objective method. This is not the descriptive approach. If you want descriptive approach, if you want proper clarifications, that also I can do. But today my purpose is to give you some objective approach related to JEE exams. Now some more questions. to practice. Problem number 3, that's a very simple problem. If this mass m goes down with v and your spring moves up with velocity vs, you can simply see that because the pulley is fixed, now this pulley is fixed, it is attached to the ceiling which is 0 meter per second. So the pulley has 0 meter per second velocity, and for that reason, if block moves downward with velocity v, spring will move upward with the same velocity. So now v of spring is same as the v of block, and therefore if the block goes down by distance x, spring will extend by distance small x, which will make a force of kx, right? If spring is stretched elongated by small x, you will get a force in this spring in the downward direction, which is kx, and since the spring is directly attached to the block, here also you will experience the force kx. So now block will experience a restoring force which is kx, and therefore k will be k effective, and then time period will be 2 pi root of m by k. Next example, this is v velocity for the block and velocity of spring is say vs. Here the velocity is 0 meter per second because of fixed point. Apply the concept of relative velocity now. Right hand side velocity v relative to this pulley which is attached to the spring, so minus vs. Left side 0 relative to this pulley is minus vs and simply 0, which means vs will be v by 2. Vs equals to v by 2 means if the block comes downward with x distance and spring has half the velocity of spring is half. So if block moves downward with small x, spring will be elongated by x by 2, and when the spring is elongated by x by 2, a force of k times x by 2 will appear here, and a force kx by 2 in this branch will give a force of kx by 4 for this portion, for this part. And if you get kx by 4 here, then you can simply write that k effective equals to k by 4, and therefore time period will be 2 pi root of m divided by k by 4. Here block is with velocity v, spring is with a vs, this side you have 0 velocity as it is fixed. Apply the same rule. On this side vs minus this pulley which is going with the block with v velocity, so vs minus v plus left hand side 0 minus v equals to 0, which means v of spring will be 2 times of v now, and that means if the block has a displacement of small x, spring which is moving with double velocity will be elongated by 2 times of x, and if spring is elongated by 2x, the same concept, a force of 2kx will appear in this branch, and a force 2kx in this branch will give a force of 4kx here in this string. So if the block experiences 4kx force, then 4k will be k effective, and therefore time period will be 2 pi root of m by 4k. So this is how you can find the time period of single spring and single block system in different type of orientation by the fast and objective approach. Right. I will present some more questions now, not now. I will present some more questions in the next video where I will have multiple springs, multiple blocks, and then there also we will learn a faster way, objective way to find the answer in 2 or 3 minutes, which is essential for JEE examinations, because you cannot devote 5 to 10 minutes to a single question when you are in examination hall, right? So I hope the concepts are clear to you. Still, if you find any difficulty, you can write down any message, you can drop a message to me. I will try to clarify the doubts Till then, stay at home, keep learning, and all the best for your J exam. Bye bye.